Hey guys, this is Vic from Grasping the Market and welcome to our market briefing. Today was a very muted session and we have no major change, actually no change at all on the larger time frame as we traded within last week's range. So well inside the weekly bar and the monthly has not changed much. On the daily, we see a minor change, minor and not that minor, not that insignificant because as we said on the previous briefing, there was a potential for daily excess up here with this tail. Now, today we had enough to confirm that tail. We had an extension lower, but it was very briefly, it was more a probe below with a failure. But because most of the, well, actually almost everything, almost all the price action that happened during the session occurred within Friday's range. Only a quick probe on the opening period. Now, it is very unusual that with an excess, such an excess of this magnitude and that close to a major reference like the 3000, if you have this excess confirmed and you only extend a few ticks, that's not very usual. So I would say that the situation here is not resolved. We need to see if we are going further lower or if we trade above today's high and start erasing that excess. For the time being, excess is there, but the gap is almost untouched as well. So very muted session. Market seems to be holding up there or down there, whatever you kind of want to call it, for more information. And another important piece of information is that I normally track the New York Stock Exchange volume as it is the underlying market for this E-mini S&P for the futures market. And the volume there today is the lowest volume I've seen since the first week of July. And that's, very telling. Not even when you have sessions that get halted at midday because of a holiday or something like that, today volume was very low. And this is aligned with the type of session we had. That tells me that people is not, there's a lot of uncertainty. Clearly, it's not in panic mode, but it's also not that excited about what happened on Friday. So it's kind of digesting the developments, probably waiting for more detail before moving forward. So on the 30-minute chart, we pointed out this level, this 65, around 64, 65 area that hold nicely on Friday. It was probed lower overnight, and immediately after the open, we went back outside. Look how many times we have bounced from that area. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Went down, went back up, 6, 7. Now the market is using that. If you keep attempting to break lower, look, notice the lower highs. You keep attempting to hammer, and you don't get continuation lower, you run the risk of making the market too short, and you can have a short squeeze. So I'll keep an eye on that because with such an excess, this should have not been such a problem. So looking at the market profile, there's not really much we can add there. You see the quick probe in the morning and then attempting to rally, but finding a lot of resistance in the settlement from Friday. There's technical excess at the top, only 2 ticks is questionable, but then it was back and forth, a very prominent POC, and there's excess standing there at the low. So focus for tomorrow, developing value versus today. I would say that if we don't create excess, actually, first of all, it depends, it's very relevant after a session like this, it's very relevant where we open tomorrow. If we open above this value and we don't revisit this prominent POC, that's a strong signal, that's a bullish market. Now, if you open within value, what you want to see is what happens with the questionable structure to the upside, or what happens below this end afternoon low, which is the level denoting change. If you start probing below this, probably you're gonna challenge the excess. I would wait for further information from the overnight, and definitely I'll give a lot of importance to where we open, because where we open could give you a good clue given that we have a very prominent POC. So pay attention to further market information in the form of details on the trade talks, and be aware that there's a lot of economic data releases, relevant ones this week from the US and China. So trade well, keep your risk tight, and see you tomorrow.